Okay, so I wanted to give you my opinion on shark vacuum cleaners. Um, Shark vacuum cleaners, they're not made to last anymore. I'll tell you that. Like an older shark like this, that, those machines lasted for a long time, like a decade or two, just as long as you took care of them. But when they started making these machines, they only last for about a few months because it's hard to maintain them and service them. And another thing I'm noticing is their filtration. So on this one, you can see, let me turn on my light. So you see how the dust is going through the filter, and you can see it's ending up all in the housing here. When I take this out, it's all in the cylinder here. And you can see it's bypassing these filters and going into the motor. And I've been kind of noticing it with this one too. I know these are kind of all stinky and whatever, and I need to clean them, but haven't had the time to though. So that's the filter on the Navigator. And as you can see, it's also going into the motor. So these machines, they're flawed, and they're designed to be flawed. And but I know the filtration way is the same because they only use a single cyclone. They both use a single cyclone. And but so we're going to look at the underneath. Of these machines. So you can see they're not really designed to be serviced. And you can see this one needs a really good cleaning. It's almost caked in hair. And I'm just saying, everyone, if you do not keep these brush rolls clean, it can destroy your brush roll. And it affects the machine's performance. Same thing with this one, but this one isn't that bad because this is my mom's vacuum and she uses it a lot. And common places for clogs on vacuum cleaners is in this lower hose. And this one's harder to deal with because it's buried inside of the head. But if you got a clog in here, on this one, you can just unscrew this and you can pull this whole thing off too. And you can take a broom handle and stick it down in there to get the clog out. But on this one, you can't do that. Hang on a second. So yeah, you can get your clog out of here pretty easily. But on this one, you can't do that because it's not designed to do that. Because it's buried inside of the head. And you can't take this head apart. So like right here is a similar design machine to these machines. And that is my Hoover Air Steerable. It has the same hose as this. They want you to know that there's a clog in here. Well, they want you to get your clog out of here. So I don't know why Shark had to change that. Because that's that hose that sucks up the dirt off of the floor and out of the carpet. There's a cat. But yeah. Shark is just all over the place with their machines. They don't last long, and they don't clean well either. Well, to be honest, these older Sharks actually clean better on carpet than these new ones, is what I'm noticing. And that is just because they are adding soft bristles to the brush roll, which are right here. And these are hard, well, stiff. But you also have this soft roller, which grinds it deeper into the carpet. Well, it mads it down into the carpet. Well, it pushes the fibers and mads them down. And then the normal brush roll has a hard time digging up the dirt. But on this one, you don't have that problem. Because you can see how these bristles are sticking out. You can kind of see that. And on this one, actually, let's do it the same way. You can see that they're not sticking out as much as this one. So there are pros and cons of both of these machines, but do you want clean carpets or have to replace your carpet in about 2 decades? Because what's more expensive to replace? A vacuum cleaner or your carpet? If you said carpet, you're correct. So I'm just basically saying these new Shark vacuums are just flawed, and they're designed to be flawed. And another thing I'm noticing, there is nothing to indicate that there is a filter underneath this cover. So they are hiding it underneath the machine. But on this one, it's more visible because there's this button here. You push it. Well, this one's the same too. They're also hiding these filters from you. As you can see, this one's cleaner. This one is also pretty clean, but this one's got more stuff on it because we've been using it more. But so yeah, that's just another flaw of these machines, is that they're trying to hide these filters from you. Hang on. Okay, I got the filter covers back on. This one's a little bit more difficult to get on because you have to slide it up in there and then click it in. But on this one, it's more convenient because you just slide it up and then push in until you hear that click. But the problem is you can't remove the brush rolls from the machines. So what they're doing instead another pro of this one is that you can't really get this one thoroughly clean. Well, I feel like it's easier to clean this one than doing this one. I know this cover is really unique, but they're making these brush rolls larger. And you can see how dirty this brush roll is. It's just harder to clean, in my opinion. I just find the older Sharks easier to clean than these new ones. this thing will go back in. There it goes. So yeah, I kind of find this one easier to clean. But, I mean, everybody has different opinions. And I'm noticing the newer sharks are actually heavier than these old ones. And also another flaw of these old ones is I've been hearing that these power switches become very, very dangerous. And, you know, these are these cheap rocker switches. And I've been hearing that people have been getting shocked by these switches. And that is a problem. And I would not want to get shocked by these switches. But on this one, it's just a push button. On this one, it's a rocker switch. But to change the brush roll settings, this one is here. But on the navigator, it's all on the switch. So that would be bare floors, and then carpet, and that one's off. But, and another thing is my uncle on my mom's side has the Vertex model, which was the replacement of the Apex. I don't know if they still make the Apex. They may have discontinued it. I don't know. But the thing I was noticing with that machine, I used it to vacuum his living room. And when I pulled the vacuum back with the head on the ground, like this, the brush roll motor doesn't have a lot of starting torque. Like, it almost can't start with it on the ground. So I don't know if the capacitor is just going bad. I don't know. I mean, this one has plenty of starting torque. Both of these have plenty of starting torque. But I think this one has a little bit more starting torque than that one. But anyway, that's just how I feel about Shark. The only one I recommend is the standard Navigator NV22, which is the standard upright without the lift away. That is the only one I recommend. I don't recommend any of these lift away ones. These Shark machines are just awful. And because they're not built to last, they break easy, and they stop working if you don't take care of them. So, and another pro about this one is the powered lift away, which I actually really like. But I'm not a fan of the performance of these vacuum cleaners. Well, especially the new ones. They don't clean very well, and they just don't last, and they're harder to clean and service. Because, like I explained, the lower hose, if you get a clog in here, you're likely not going to get this thing out. Well, you're likely not going to get this clog out. I mean, you can, but it's not as convenient as this one. Because all you have to do on this one is just remove the hose from the machine. Where on this one, you have to use you have to remove the head from the machine and try to get the clog out. I mean, I would rather just remove this hose from the machine rather than removing the whole head and doing it that way. But that's just my opinion about these Shark vacuums, especially the new ones. They just don't clean very well. I mean, Sharks aren't deep cleaners now. They used to be, but now they aren't. Shark is probably the most flawed vacuum brand in the vacuum industry. Or probably one of the most. So, if you're just going to buy a Shark vacuum, if you don't have, if you have a lot of carpet in your house, I would just go with one of these older ones. But if you have mostly hard floors, I would probably go with one of the new ones. And another thing I've been noticing is that they don't really clean very well on floors either because of those squeegee things that they have on the brush roll. I find these bristles to do better than those squeegee things on the brush roll. Just stop with the Shark vacuums. Just find another brand. These machines are just not built to last. Because of how they are designed. They are just designed to be flawed. And I would just go with one of these old ones. These new ones are just not worth buying anymore. But I would go with these old ones because they clean better and I feel like their airflow is much, much better. And I'm noticing a lot more airflow with this one compared to that one because they have different sized motors. This one has a 7.5 amp motor or 7.5 amp motor, and that one has a 10 amp motor. I mean, I would have the better agitation and the more airflow because those are the two most important things of cleaning your carpet. So would you rather get some of the dirt out of your carpet or all of it? So I hope you learned something from this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you.